Shakespeare's plays are full of clever techniques that add depth, humor, and drama. Let's explore some key techniques that will help you better understand his writing: imagery, puns, foreshadowing, oxymorons, and rhetorical questions. Imagery is when Shakespeare paints pictures with words by using descriptions that appeal to our senses: sight, sound, smell, touch, and taste. This makes the scenes and emotions more vivid and easier to imagine. In Macbeth, when Macbeth sees a vision of a dagger, he says, "Is this a dagger which I see before me? The handle toward my hand?" He describes the dagger in such detail that we can picture it as if it were really there, creating a sense of tension and fear. Shakespeare often used nature imagery like flowers, animals, and weather to set the mood. For example, stormy weather often symbolizes chaos, while sunshine represents happiness or peace. A pun is a type of joke where a word has two or more meanings, or when two words that sound alike have different meanings. Shakespeare loved to use puns, especially in his comedies, to make the audience laugh. In Romeo and Juliet, after being wounded, Mercutio says, "Ask for me tomorrow, and you shall find me a grave man." The word grave is a pun because it means both serious and a place where dead people are buried. This dark humor makes the moment both funny and sad. Puns are often used to lighten the mood, even in more serious plays, and they show off Shakespeare's cleverness with language. Foreshadowing is when Shakespeare drops hints or clues about events that will happen later in the play. This builds suspense and keeps the audience wondering how things will unfold. In Romeo and Juliet, Romeo has a feeling that something bad is going to happen before he goes to the Capulet party. He says, "My mind misgives, some consequence yet hanging in the stars." This foreshadows the tragic events that lead to his and Juliet's deaths later in the play. By using foreshadowing, Shakespeare makes the audience feel like they're in on a secret, and they start looking for clues about what might happen next. An oxymoron is a figure of speech where two words that seem to contradict each other are used together to make a point. It shows how complex emotions or situations can be, especially when characters are feeling conflicted. In Romeo and Juliet, Juliet says, "Parting is such sweet sorrow." Sweet and sorrow are opposites, but this oxymoron perfectly describes how she feels. Saying goodbye is sad, but the thought of seeing Romeo again makes it a little sweet. Oxymorons are often used to show mixed emotions or to make a situation seem more intense. A rhetorical question is a question that doesn't need an answer because the answer is obvious, or it's used to make a point. These questions make characters sound more dramatic or emphasize what they're saying. In Julius Caesar, Mark Antony uses a rhetorical question to stir up the crowd after Caesar's death. Did this in Caesar seem ambitious? The question is meant to make the crowd think, not to get an answer, and it helps him persuade them to turn against the conspirators. Rhetorical questions are a powerful way for characters to express strong feelings and get the audience thinking. Shakespeare used these techniques to make his plays more exciting, funny, or emotional. Whether he's using imagery to help you picture a scene, puns to make you laugh, or foreshadowing to keep you in suspense, these techniques draw you into the story and make it more memorable. By spotting these techniques, you'll start to see how much thought Shakespeare put into his writing and how he uses language to engage both his characters and his audience.